Okay, let's jump right in. We're doing a deep dive today on something I think, well, pretty much everyone feels at some point. It's that quiet sort of heartbreak, that
Yeah.
feeling of being fundamentally misunderstood, not just by strangers, but like by the people closest to you, friends, family, partners.
Right. The ones who are supposed to get you.
Exactly. And then we're going to explore this maybe surprising idea of the freedom that comes when you actually accept that
Mm.
maybe you'll never be fully understood.
Yeah, that initial ache, though. When you put your heart out there, you show someone who you really are, and they just read it wrong or see something else entirely.
Oh, totally.
And that's not just like a philosophical musing. It runs deep. It's biological. Think about it. Evolutionarily being misunderstood by your tribe, that could mean exile.
And exile meant, well, it was often fatal, wasn't it?
Absolutely. It was basically a death sentence. So that need to be understood, to belong, it's wired in deep.
It's actually pretty startling how physical that connection is. Like, neuroscientists have found that social rejection, it lights up the same pain centers in the brain as physical injury.
Exactly. It hurts. Literally.
And you see it in Maslow's hierarchy, right?
Yeah.
Belongingness, being understood. It's right there above basic food and shelter. It's fundamental.
But here's the rub. That ancient wiring, it makes us panic at rejection, at being misunderstood. But the world we live in now, the modern world, it almost guarantees it.
How so? What is it about now that makes it worse?
Well, think about the pace. Everything's fast. We communicate in headlines, sound bites, quick glances online. Nuance gets lost.
Right, you post something carefully thought out and someone sees like 3 words and jumps to a massive conclusion.
Precisely. There's no time or maybe no patience for the deeper understanding. So misunderstanding isn't the exception anymore. It's almost the default setting. Speed trumps clarity.
Okay, this is where it gets really fascinating for me. This idea that maybe it's always been this way, at least for some people,
Yeah.
that being misunderstood is like the price you pay for being authentic.
Oh, absolutely. It's almost a historical tax on reality. We like to think of historical figures as universally acclaimed then, but that's often not the case at all.
Give us some examples.
Well, Galileo. He figures out the Earth goes around the sun, a fundamental truth. And what happens? He's called dangerous, a heretic, misunderstood by the most powerful institutions of his time.
Okay, yeah.
Or think about Van Gogh. He died believing he was a complete failure. His art, which we now see as genius, was just totally rejected, misunderstood in his lifetime.
Wow. And wasn't Socrates basically killed for asking too many questions?
Exactly. Sentenced to death for corrupting the youth. All he did was question assumptions, push people to think deeper, but the establishment, even just the general public, they didn't get it or didn't want to.
So the message is kind of like, if you choose to live genuinely, to push boundaries, you can't expect everyone, maybe not even your closest circle, to always understand you.
Right. And psychologically, we're even fighting ourselves on this. There's this thing called the false consensus effect.
Okay, what's that?
It's our tendency to assume that other people see the world pretty much exactly like we do, that they share our beliefs, our values, our interpretations.
But they don't.
Not even close. Everyone's walking around with a totally different map of reality, built from their unique childhood, their culture, their experiences, their beliefs. We're literally not living in the same psychological universe.
So wait, if we can't control their map, their perception, is there even a point in trying to explain ourselves, especially to the people we really care about? Don't we have to try?
You can try. And sometimes it helps, sure. But here's the hard truth, and it's also incredibly freeing once you grasp it. You ultimately cannot control how other people perceive you.
Why not?
Because perception happens inside their head, not yours. They're filtering everything you say, everything you do, through their own map, their own past hurts, their own assumptions. When you really internalize that, their misreading of you, it stops feeling like a personal failing on your part. It's more about their filter.
Okay, so if trying to constantly explain and control perception is, well, kind of futile, what's the alternative? How do you find freedom in this mess?
This brings us to something really powerful. The psychologist Carl Rogers had this amazing insight. He called it a paradox.
Oh, was it?
He said, the curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change.
Huh. That seems backwards. Most of us think we need to change first to get accepted.
Exactly. We perform, we adjust, we try to fit the mold to earn that approval, that understanding. Rogers flips it. He says, stop playing to the audience. Accept yourself, right here, right now.
So the freedom isn't in getting everyone else to finally get you.
No. The freedom comes when you realize you don't need them to. You just need to get yourself. You need to be your own clear witness. Inner alignment is the key.
Inner alignment, meaning your actions match your own values, regardless of external applause.
Precisely. Peace doesn't come from universal validation. It comes from knowing you're living in line with your own compass, trusting your own motives, even if nobody else sees it that way.
And that connects to Viktor Frankl, too, doesn't it? The Holocaust survivor.
Absolutely. Frankl wrote so powerfully that what makes life unbearable isn't usually suffering or rejection itself, but suffering without meaning.
Right.
If you're rooted in a sense of purpose, something meaningful to you, then whether other people understand or approve of that purpose becomes, well, less important. The external noise loses its power.
So that's the choice then. It's choosing your own meaning over needing external validation, using purpose over approval.
That's the core of it. Being okay with not being understood is really about making that fundamental shift.
And the paradox, circling back, is that the moment you actually stop fighting so hard to be understood,
Is the moment you start living with real clarity, guided by that inner compass, not by chasing external applause or approval, you become more solid in yourself.
So maybe the final thought to leave everyone with is this. What if the people misunderstanding you aren't the problem? What if their confusion is actually a gift?
How do you mean?
Well, what if their inability to get you forces you to define yourself, your meaning, your purpose, more clearly, independently of them, so clearly, in fact, that you become too busy living true to even notice if the rest of the world ever fully catches up?
That's a powerful reframe. Maybe misunderstanding isn't the tax you pay, but the forge that shapes you.